picked up, if you've been paying close attention, the Scots want their freedom, and while there's only 4.5 million residents, they'll get to vote, and plenty of expats who feel strongly have been giving the other side of the debate. Sky business market contributor and proud Scotsman Fraser MacLeod is here to give his expat view, all the way from Adelaide. Welcome to the show, Fraser.
Thank you indeed, Janine. Thank you very much for having me on.
Now, I have to ask the first question. Are you a bit disappointed because expats, the only people allowed to vote, the 4.3 million, have to be actually living there? Does that seem unfair to you?
Look, I suppose it is unfair in a way, but I think it's probably the only truly fair way to do it. You know, the people who live there day to day are going to be the ones to make the choice, and so I think that it's probably there's not a fair way of doing it. And whilst I would love to be able to vote, if you know, I'll be pitching my friends and family overnight over the telephone for those who are undecided.
Okay. Well, if you could vote, which way would you vote and why?
Well, look, I would be a yes, and you know, having thought through the yes and no debate, I would be a yes. I believe that the hope now certainly is that the people of Scotland are going to use and make a choice that is one that is driven by hope rather than by fear, and the yes campaign certainly is full of hope. Whereas the no campaign seems to be run purely on fear, and it does seem bizarre to me that the no campaign is asking you to not vote for more powers so that they can give you more powers. That doesn't really add up to me. So, look, as a standalone nation, we would be the 14th wealthiest nation in the world. We've got a very diverse economy. We've got key sectors like food and drink and tourism, and that all-important oil and gas that's out in the North Sea and will last for many years to come. An interesting point of note is that Scotland makes around about and sells around about 40 bottles of whiskey every second, and that's worth about £4.5 billion per year. Obviously, they can offer more money out of oil.
That's all the good stuff. But you have a lot of debt, and you've got a lot of people on welfare, and you get a lot of benefit, and you don't know how much of that North Sea oil is drying up. You don't know. And you've got financial markets there, and you've got a financial services industry, which is threatening to pull out. A lot of British companies would pull out. So there is a downside. Now, I'm a bit surprised, given you are actually a financial market expert. It seems to be a case of economic suicide if one did this.
Well, I think there's a few stories floating around that people perhaps have not truly got a grip on the true facts here. Last year, Scotland paid £800 more per person than the national average of tax paid per person for the whole of the UK. So Scotland actually pays more tax than the rest of the UK on a per population basis. Now, it's sure that Scotland has some terrible poverty problems, and part of the yes vote and the reasons to be voting yes, I suppose, for many people in Scotland at this time, is to try and even that out over time. Poverty is a problem that in many places of Scotland has not been overcome as of yet, and the Scottish people do care for each other, and they wish for a fairer nation, and ultimately the Scottish people would like to have the ability to decide where the money is spent. Now, North Sea oil and gas is worth, you know, it's a good $1 trillion industry, and according to the experts, there's between, say, 15 and 24 billion barrels of oil still there and available to collect. So that will certainly help out. Some of the companies have been moving south, or saying that they're going to be moving south, but RBS confirmed this week that, sure, they would move their brass plate saying where their corporate headquarters were, they would move that to London. But they also said, well, the jobs wouldn't move. The corporate tax, which is based on activity, corporate tax in the UK is based on activity by economic area, that would still be collected by Scotland.
All right, what
so
about...
I think there's a few false stories going around.
There's a few false stories, but what about the big one, the currency? As I presume you're not going to pay in buttons next week, and given the Bank of England said, no, you can't use the pound, what are you going to do?
There is a lot of brinkmanship and bluster about this one, and it is the key question, and it's the key question that the clients have been asking. It's the key question that many investors around the world are asking. And look, the preferred option, and probably the best option for everyone, would be to continue for Scotland and the rest of the UK that's left over to have a currency union, a formal currency union, and that's certainly what the nationalists wish for. So the Bank of England won't be used as the last resort.
Wishes aren't horses, Fraser. Let's look at the practicality of it. You don't have such a currency formation yet. The Bank of England says no. What is the plan then? I mean, there's talk of the euro, for example. Is that your fallback position?
I think, look, I think probably for many the euro would maybe be the third option. The second option would be to use the pound anyway, but not have the Bank of England support. And the fourth option would be, well, to launch your own currency, but wouldn't
they play havoc with the financial markets? Wouldn't they love that?
It would, yes. Well, markets don't like stability. They don't like uncertainty. I mean, you and I both know that. So the way in which that we can get around this is if there is a yes vote, then the politics on the side would then be put aside. If it was the case that a deal, which would be, it's a large economic area of the UK as it stands at the moment, it benefits both England and the rest of the UK and Scotland if we were to continue to use over the next few years the same currency that we're using now. After all, it is our currency too. No one can dispute that the Scotland's currency is the pound, and Scotland is simply saying...
You need a central bank behind it, though, don't you?
We wouldn't need a central bank behind it, yes. Now, a central bank would be the Bank of England, and it comes to a compromise.
Well, they said bugger off.
Well, if that happens, then it does come to a horrible, nasty fight, and that would be bad for markets.
I get back to my point. It does seem that you're playing with economic suicide there, but I'm interested. As you said, you're a market player. What do you genuinely, putting aside your Scottish kilf for a moment,
Sure.
What do you think the market reaction would be? I mean, you might personally in your heart think it's great, but by goodness, the markets will react, won't they, if there is a yes vote?
Markets will react, yes. Look, markets have not been expecting that there will be a yes vote. Markets have pretty much discounted the tail risk of there being a yes vote, and for that to be the case. And let's say in 48 hours the yes vote gets in and Scotland becomes a truly independent country, then by all means sterling is going to be viewed on with some risk, as it has been building over the last couple of weeks. I also, it depends on how the politicians handle this one. Now, the Nobel Prize winning economist Joseph Stiglitz has said that a currency union would be accepted after the yes vote, and he said that because it's good for both economies in England and the rest of the UK, and also for Scotland. So the politicians and the civil servants would not be wishing for unrest and financial.
Unfortunately, I have to cut you off there. Much as I've enjoyed having a true Scotsman, and I'll love to talk to you again after the vote. Let's see. Thank you very much, Fraser MacLeod, tonight. Thank you. Back shortly.
Save heaps of dollars with real pay-as-you-drive car insurance. I drive a lot. Back and